Okay, so things were absolutely electric in Toruń. Lotte Kopecky is back with a vengeance, and yep, March Madness has officially arrived. Week 12 was so much more than just another week of sports. It was a week that signals a huge shift, and we're about to break down exactly why.
Seriously, what we just witnessed was a genuine seismic shift in the landscape of women's sports. And in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly how and why that is, using all the key moments from the past 7 days. So we'll cover everything from global speed and tactical genius to the rise of underdogs, a massive win that happened way beyond the game, and of course, the start of March Madness. And then we'll finish up with how you can become an impact scout and spot the next big star.
All right, first up, let's dive into some top-tier athletic performances that are really setting the tone for the entire year, from the lightning-fast indoor track to the punishing cobblestone roads.
The entire global stage just moved to Poland for the World Athletics Indoor Championships. And look, indoor medals are great, they're awesome, but what's really at stake here is the blueprint for the entire outdoor season. You better believe the times we're seeing right now are a huge predictor of who is going to dominate this summer.
And hey, it wasn't just on the track. We saw a whole new wave of incredibly versatile distance runners come out of the University Cross Country Championships, with talent from over 10 different nations. This is where future Olympic legends are being forged, right now, right in front of us.
Okay, quick pop quiz for you all. Think about the physics here. The tight turns, the fact that there's no wind. Do you think indoor track times are generally faster or slower than outdoor? It's a fun one to think about.
All right, let's switch gears to cycling and see how this theme builds. Lotte Kopecky didn't just win the Notre Dame, she put on an absolute masterclass in strategy that just dismantled the competition. This was her big "I'm here" statement for the year.
And this is where you can see her genius. First, she just calmly navigated the chaos of these late race crashes, keeping her position. Then, she identified that one single perfect window to make her move. And finally, she unleashed a sprint that was so decisive it was just over. It was clinical. It proves that a sharp mind is every bit as powerful as strong legs.
And that whole theme of challengers rising, well, that brings us perfectly to our next section, where we saw parity just explode, some shocking upsets, and yeah, a little bit of history being made.
Let's head over to the pitch in Ireland, where the opening weekend of the League of Ireland gave everybody a massive reality check. The defending champs, Athlone Town, they were held to a draw. Meanwhile, other teams came out swinging with these dominant, statement-making wins.
And here's the thing. This theme of parity is popping up everywhere. I mean, in college tennis, you've got Carly Rouse taking down top 10 players. You've got teams like the Kaiser Seahawks sitting on a perfect 9-0 record, and Harvard is just tearing it up on a 5-match win streak. The gap between these so-called elites and the challengers, it's closing, and it is closing fast.
So let me ask you this. If you were filling out a championship bracket today, in any sport, would you play it safe with the favorite, or are you betting on the underdog? Because the landscape is definitely shifting under our feet.
Speaking of dominance, let's just look at this number. 13, 2, 1. That was the staggering final score for Eszter Muhari in the Epi final at the Fencing National Championships. Folks, that is not just a win. That is a complete and total shutout. And that unbelievable performance? It helped secure a major piece of history. The Notre Dame women's fencing team won their first ever women-only national title. An absolutely monumental achievement built on that kind of precision and dominance. You know, some of the biggest victories this week didn't even happen on a court or a field at all. They happened in courtrooms, where athletes fought for their very right to compete, and in doing so, strengthened the foundation of women's sports for everyone. Let's talk about Marshall University, where the women's swimming and diving team was, well, they were on the chopping block. They were nearly eliminated from existence because of proposed budget cuts. This was a real fight for their survival. But, and this is the big win here, the athletes fought back. They used legal pressure and the power of Title IX, you know, that landmark U.S. law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in education, to force a complete reversal. The team is safe, and over 20 scholarships were saved. This is just a massive reminder that the right to play is protected by law. So, while one team fought just to secure their future, dozens of others are now fighting for a title. The hunt for a championship is on because, yep, the madness is officially here. Take the North Carolina Tar Heels, for instance. They just locked in a number 4 seed.
But in a tournament that's famous for upsets, a high seed is absolutely no guarantee. For them, and for dozens of other teams, the mindset has shifted overnight. It is literally win or go home. And given the parity we've been seeing all season, this year's hunt for a championship feels totally wide open.
Okay, so with all these rising stars and potential upsets flying around, how do you even keep up? Well, you need a system. So I'm going to give you my personal workflow for how to identify the next breakout player before anybody else does.
All right, here it is. It's 4 simple steps. First, identify the gap closer. Players like Carly Rue who are consistently beating higher seeds. Second, you track the clutch metric. How do they play when the game is on the line? Third, monitor the environment. Is there a new coach, new facilities? And finally, you log the result. It's a simple system, but it takes you from just watching to actually predicting what's going to happen.
So here's the bottom line. A system like this takes all the guesswork out of being a fan. It empowers you to go deeper, to analyze the game you love, and to truly become an expert. Data drives insight, and now you have the tools. So go find the next big star.